People face many diverse challenges prohibiting them from playing any sports. Over this presentation, I will be focusing on the two main groups whom I believe to be most affected. These groups would be people with disabilities and females. According to the Women's Sports Foundation, women drop out of their sports 2 times the rate of males. And according to Dan Salmon from La Trobe University, globally, 18.5% of our population have some form of a disability. And out of that percentage, only 30% can try to play a sport. When it comes to the mainstream and value of the sport, there is a big gap between male athletics and female and disabled athletics. Some organizations are making, on the disabled side, some organizations are making an effort to help people specifically with disabilities to get involved in the athletic community. The 3 groups whom I focused on were Moved United, the Disability Resource, and Sports Are For Everyone. Moved United has helped over 80,000 people and organized 50 different sports for athletes. The Disability Resource, whose main goal is to help any person try as many sports as they can until they find the right one. And Sports Are For Everyone is an organization that helps create these events for children and teenagers with disabilities. To gain all these organizations help people gain better self-confidence, independence, and better social skills. Being in the 21st century, a lot of sports have already been modified, such as wheelchair basketball or sitting volleyball. But there also has been the creation of new events, such as goal ball, where there will be a team trying to stop a ball without the use of their vision. The ball does have 3 bells in it. I did say how there are 2 groups, people with disability and females who suffer from the lack of access to high quality sports. According to the Women's Sports Foundation, women have 1.3 million fewer opportunities compared to male athletics. One win leads to another, or AWOLA, partnered with the UN Women's International Olympic Committee, and they saw a 43% increase of girls who believe that they are leaders, a 54% increase of girls who believe they knew how to prevent pregnancy, and a 99% of those girls left that day believing that they could one day get a job. One solution to help female athletes and people with disability is to increase the media coverage. Increasing the media would mean children can have better role models. Right now, children are getting bombarded with images of unrealistic role models. By increasing the media, new role models could implement hope in young athletes and can use their status to talk about global issues such as gender equality. The United Nations Scientific and Culture Organization, or UNESCO, discovered almost 40% of all athletes are women, but they only receive 4% of the media coverage. Now, the opposing view to my argument would be that sports, no matter what, are available to everyone. In the article Hoops, where I've posted some of the photos from that article here, there are a lot of different photographs of basketballs all over the US. If you look closely, there are no signs saying who can and who cannot play, but the amount of money put towards a different hoop can dictate the amount of children who would want to play with that basketball hoop. NCAA has also produced a federal law called Title IX to help female athletes. It states that no person in the U.S. based on sex be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits, or be subjected to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. But even with this law in place, we still see an imbalance with the genders and abilities. On a more positive scale, On a smaller, more positive scale, we do see small schools such as Century High School out of Bismarck, North Dakota, who has taken steps into including all of their students with any ability. They have created a flag football team, a bowling team, and even a wiffle ball team. Overall, if any person has a desire to play a sport, there will always be a spot for that person. But when you break it down to the mainstream availability and the value of that sport, female and people with disabilities have a much harder time finding the proper sport to play. Thank you.
Huge round of applause. Huge round of applause. Okay, a couple of questions. What evidence did you gather that you didn't include, and why did you choose not to include it?
I did not include the fact that there's a $6.7 million difference between the WNBA top pick and the NBA pick, just because it didn't really flow in with the presentation.
Okay, all right, thank you. What are the implications of your findings to your community?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. What are the implications of your findings to the community, to our community? Why is it a big deal?
It's a big deal because if there are less athletes in the community or people who are dropping out, leaving a sport, there's just going to be that imbalance, and children should grow up and believe that they can do whatever they want. They should play whatever sport they want, no matter their ability or their sex. So we have to talk about it now.
Yeah, okay, very good. Another round of applause.